The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 774. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on the show today. She is a multifaceted creative. She's a podcaster, a speaker, comedian, and also an actress. And I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Shereen Kassam. Shereen, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I would say my journey's been interesting. I never thought I was going to be a creative. I grew up in an immigrant household, so I was supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer. I actually went to school to be a computer scientist, and then I couldn't figure out how to do that. So my dad said you could study business. And then I graduated and I went into corporate America and I hated it. And I still didn't know what to do with my life. And then I discovered stand-up comedy, and that probably changed my entire course direction in my life. And that was in my late 20s. So it's never too late to find what you want to do. And then from comedy, everything kind of just started happening. Like I started comedy, then I got into acting, then I got a radio show that led me to podcasting. And then I started getting speaking engagements. And yeah, that brings me here today to where I am, where it's like I'm not even sure anymore what to call myself because I want to have my foot in everything. Like there's still more projects I want to take on. Like I want to be a screenwriter and a film producer, and I just want to do everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Shereen, what's your cultural background?
That is a very interesting question. My parents are actually from Africa. My mom is from Kenya. My dad is from Tanzania. And then their ancestors are split. Some are from the Middle East. My great-grandmother was from Iran, and then my great-grandfathers were from India, and then my great-grandmother on my dad's side is actually from Africa. So just a little bit of everything. But my parents actually left Africa in 1972 when Idi Amin came in to power, and so then they immigrated to England and then to Canada. So there's definitely that culture of like, okay, we have nothing, we came from nothing, we lost everything in Africa. Like, you are going to be successful and you are going to do stuff with it that makes you a stable income so that you don't struggle like we did.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I would say, okay, so I wrote one down. So I would say it's by Golda Meir, and it's trust yourself, create the kind of self that you will be happy to live with all your life. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny inner sparks of possibility into flames of achievement.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
Honestly, I think it's being comfortable with who you are. For the longest time, I really struggled with that. I mean, I used to get bullied all the way through like high school about everything, my hair, the way I looked, the clothes I wore. And it wasn't until I just said to myself, this is who you are. This is how you want to be comfortable. And that's when I realized what that self-confidence, like, I have to accept myself if I want other people to accept me, which I also realize will never happen. Like, people have so many other issues going on in their lives that if they are bullying you or insecure or like poking fun at you, that has nothing to do with your self-confidence. That has to do with their self-confidence.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. It's so true. You know, sometimes when someone teases you or makes fun of you or bullies you, it's more of a reflection of them. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves it's not always about us. And, you know, hopefully realize like we can be who we are and accept ourselves for who we are and be comfortable at the same time. So thanks again for sharing that. And what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
Like I mentioned, like I would let other people just bother me. Like if somebody made fun of my clothes or my hair or just what I said or how I acted, like I was very sensitive in the sense that I would let it fester inside of me and get really angry about it, but didn't know what to do about it. And it really, like, I guess, hindered me, like, just in terms of progress and, like, becoming the woman I wanted to be. And so when I look back at that, it's funny because those same things happen now. But now, like we just talked about, it's like I can frame that as, like, no, they are just having an issue with themselves. They're just being insecure. They're going through something and they don't know how to navigate it. So they're taking it out on me. And that gives me so much more time in my life to focus on myself versus focusing on something somebody else did to me.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something, we all can relate and go through, something we can relate, because I'm sure we've all been bothered by other people, and sometimes we do feel sensitive about it because, sometimes maybe we feel like we're attacked, but we have to realize like it's not always about us, and sometimes things happen for a reason, and like you mentioned, we can work through it and get out of it. And what was that point in your life when you realized, you can be who you are, especially, going into like comedy and acting? Like, what was that aha moment?
I think it was comedy a little bit. I think it was just that aspect of I can get on stage and I can say what I want and be who I am, and nobody can tell me whether or not that's the right or wrong answer, because nobody actually knows if who I am on stage is who I am as a person. Like, a lot of people, when they do comedy, they're a different person on stage than they are in real life. And so that really just helped me define who I was, because I am myself on stage. And when I was on stage, nobody said anything to me. Nobody said, I don't like the way you think or the way you dress or the way you talk. And so I said, well, if nobody has a problem with me doing that on stage, then why do I allow them to make fun of me when I'm off stage? So that was kind of like an aha moment where I was like, this is who I am.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's great you're able to share that. Yeah, because sometimes we feel like we have to put on these different masks and we have to be somebody else, not realizing we can just be our true selves, our authentic selves, and people will love us for that. I mean, obviously, we can't please everybody and we might not jive with other people, but at least we'll have the right people that will come to us and say, I like what you do. I think it's great. You can be just you, and, realize like off stage we can just be the same thing as well. So thanks for sharing that. And, because of that realization, what's your life been like now?
Oh, I like I said, there's just so much more time in my life because I'm not festering over small things. I'm kind of just like, okay, that person said this to me, like they're just being insecure. I'm moving on. I have other things to do. And so for me, it's just been a great realization where I'm just like, okay, I'm focusing on myself now. For so many years, I didn't focus on myself. And now it's time to really just take all that energy that I have and put it towards things that I'm passionate about, like comedy, podcasting, acting, instead of worrying about what people think.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
I say believe in yourself. I mean, you're the only one who can believe in yourself. And it's funny because when people used to say that to me, like you have to believe in yourself because nobody else will, I would always be like, well, my parents do and my boyfriend does. But at the end of the day, like they believe in you, but they don't even know what you're capable of. Only you know what you're capable of. And so you have to believe in your ideas and what you want to put forth into the world and your creativity and your projects and stuff, because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And so I would say, put your energy and passion into something that you love doing and then see where it takes you. And for me, like that helped me find my self-confidence. And so that could be the key to finding your aha moment.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And I know sometimes, saying believe in yourself is cheesy or repetitive, but I mean, it is a great reminder to realize like, yeah, we really have to believe in ourselves. It does start with that belief. And once we have that belief, we're going to take the actions. Whether it's the right action or the wrong action, it'll give us that direction that we're, destined to go to. So thanks for sharing those great tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and, wanted to check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, sure. If you go to funnybrown.girl.com, you can find my Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. My Instagram is funnybrown.girl, and then check out my podcast. You can find it from funnybrown.girl.com as well, but it's called Creative Breakthrough, and I spotlight creatives of color who share inspiring stories and strategies to win.
Thanks for sharing that. To our listeners, if you want to connect with Shereen, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Shereen's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Shereen today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Shereen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to get your daily boost of confidence.